Better. All right, yo gamers, what's good? Yo gamers, good. My name is Dr. Ryan Charles, Psych Sensei, and welcome to the stream, baby. Today it's gonna be a little bit different. I present to you Ryan Rants, why therapy doesn't work. In my other life, I'm a clinical psychologist. I work with clients. I work with regular people in therapy, and I think I've wanted to make these small little TikToks, but at the same time, I've gotten not much time to make social media, so I thought I was going to stream this one, and we can talk about why therapy may not work, or why people think therapy isn't effective, or what have you, and why is this getting all crazy? Okay. Why therapy doesn't work, why therapy may not work for you, and I guess some of the common issues people have when going to therapy, or, you know, we could even extend this to coaching and esports coaching in general, basically trying to help yourself mentally or whatever, why it doesn't work. And it does. It's just some factors, I think, get in the way of progress of people, of clients in general, trying to utilize therapy to help themselves. So I'm here to put on a small little stream to talk about maybe some of the common misconceptions, some of the pitfalls, some of the things that may occur in therapy, or what prevents people from finding therapy super effective, and why it may not be effective for you. So as always, if you want to work with me, please visit my website, psychsensei.com. And I guess if you live in California, you can work with me through Girl Therapy if you want to go and check me out there. But if you are a gamer or whatever, please visit my website, psychsensei.com. There you can find all the resources. Please follow me on TikTok, on Instagram, on LinkedIn, on YouTube, on Facebook. Everything can be found on my website, psychsensei.com. All right, let's jump into it, shall we? Nope, this one. All right. So, today's title for today's stream is why therapy doesn't work. All right, let's talk about it. First and foremost, spoiler alert, therapy totally does work. Therapy, it works if you want it to work. If you go with an open mind. This is definitely for more information. In general, I want this to be a conversation for people. I think in general, though, this is some of the top things or top factors of why therapy may not work, or people think it's ineffective, or people like went to therapy once and was like, it didn't work, I didn't enjoy it, whatever, man. So if you want to, as always, chat about your therapy experience or whatever, and maybe we can help you have a better one for next time. So I think in general, the number one reason why therapy doesn't work is this one. I think I spelled it right, TH. Yes. I think the number one reason therapy does not work, or therapy is ineffective, or you have a bad time in therapy, is because you do not match your therapist. And research has shown it doesn't matter the modality, it doesn't matter the technique, it doesn't matter the conceptualization. Nothing matters more than your match with your therapist. And what I mean by that is, do you like them? Do you trust them? Do you feel safe around them? Do you believe that they can help you? Do you vibe with them? This is the most important thing. All studies have shown therapeutic alliance is the most important thing when it comes to the effectiveness of therapy. If you don't like your therapist, if you don't vibe with your therapist, if you don't feel comfortable around your therapist, if you don't like their technique, if you don't like their interventions, their suggestions, not their advice, because therapists don't give you advice, like, if you do not vibe with your therapist, if you don't like going to therapy because you feel judged, if you don't like therapy because you feel shameful about what you're going to tell them and the reactions or the way they look at you, it's not going to work. So the most important part of therapy is finding a therapist that really matches you, that you believe that can help you, that you can vibe with for an hour, a 50-minute clinical hour every single week. And the reason I want to start here is because the hardest part about therapy is finding your therapist. So many times people tell me like, oh my God, like I've gone to so many intake meetings and I have to tell them the same stories over and over again. I'm so sick and I'm so tired of it. That's like the most important thing. You're going to have to tell this story. You're going to have to give the history. You're going to have to fill out the paperwork. You're going to have to like talk about similar things. At the same time, this is the most important part of therapy, that you can find someone that you feel comfortable with talking with. Like, that's the most important thing. So yes, it may be arduous. Yes, it may be boring. Yes, you may have to tell the same story again. At the same time, it is critical that you find someone that matches you. And here's the thing. I may be a great therapist. At the same time, I may not be a great therapist for you. The way that I think about things, the way I talk about things, the way that I present things, my pacing, my tone, my language, it may not be for you. And here's the thing. That's okay. As a therapist, you're never going to offend me. You're never going to make me upset. You're never going to disappoint me. Like, I think the most important thing as a therapist is to understand that you may not be everyone's cup of tea, or you may not be everyone's greatest therapist. And I think being a therapist, it's one of the most egoless jobs. I think it's important for a therapist to understand their limits, their boundaries, their style, the way that they think, and to check their ego at the door. Because as a therapist, my priority is making sure that my clients are getting the help and support that they need, even if that's not from me. So even though you may see someone's reviews, or your friend tells you, oh my God, this person's so amazing, or your mom or your dad or whatever tells like, this therapist is awesome. Sure, that's true. They may be awesome for them, but they may not be awesome for you. And that's totally okay. I think it's also important if a therapist says that like, okay, you know, I may not be the best person to support you, or, you know, thinking about my style or what I focus on, it may not be perfect for you. This is not your therapist breaking up with you. There is nothing inherently wrong with you. When we talk about match, it's also important that your therapist believes or thinks that they can help you. So just like you are trying to find someone that matches what you need and can help you and the things that you are bringing to the table or want to work on, it's also important for the therapist to feel like they can match you too, so you can work together. If you really think about it, like, therapy is a relational thing. Like, that's where all the work comes through, the relationship. Now, again, not the technique, not the conceptualization, not the skills. Most oftentimes, the relationship that you build with your therapist, that's where the true work is. So just because you don't match your therapist, that's totally fine. Just because your therapist doesn't match you, that's also totally fine. And also, if you have a therapist and you feel like they're getting upset with you, they're getting disappointed, they're ashamed or whatever of you, like, run. Don't stay with that therapist. You can always leave your therapist. I think my suggestion would be not to just ghost them. I think it's also really, really important that you can consistently provide your therapist with feedback, like, I like this thing, I didn't like this thing, I want more of this thing, you made me think of this thing, could you do this for me or not do this for me? And by providing the therapist feedback like this and your preferences, they can continue to be the best therapist for you if you want to continue working with them. Now, in my humble opinion, if you tell your therapist these types of things, you provide them with feedback and they push back, like, hard, not like, okay, I consider what you're saying, this is why I'm doing it this way, but now that you're saying it like this, I'm going to try to cater my technique to you, which is the correct answer. If they say, no, you know, this is how I do it, and like, this is like the way I do therapy, you know, I'm glad that they're transparent and being open with you that way. it's also maybe time to not work with that person because they may not be able to provide you with feedback or skills or things that you need in the room. So the number one reason why I think therapy doesn't work is just because you don't match your therapist or your therapist may not match you. Because first and foremost, that's the most important thing. All right. All right. I think the second reason why therapy doesn't work is because you may not have a clear goal of what you want to get out of therapy. And what I mean by that is I think the most challenging clients that I have for my style or for me is when I ask them, hey, what do you want to get better? Like, what brings you to therapy? And they tell me something like, I don't know, man, you're the expert, you tell me. And it's like, whoa, no, that's not how this works. Yes, I work for you. You're kind of my boss. I'm not here to tell you what's right and what's wrong. I mean, unless we're talking like, don't kill people, like don't do that, or like don't hurt yourself and don't hurt others and, don't plan on those things. Those are things that that's my, like the ethical thing of, breaking confidentiality too. But what I mean by that is it's really challenging as a therapist if my client or a client says, do whatever you want, you tell me what's wrong with me. First of all, you don't want that. You don't want someone to be like, here's all the reasons why you're messed up, or like, here's why all the things that like you're doing is terrible and how you're in like your relationships. Like, you don't want that. Plus, it's always your mom. These are just jokes, or it's the jungler's fault. These are just jokes. Like, it's really important that when you go to therapy, you have a specific goal in mind. You have like an idea of, if therapy worked, this is how my life would be different. I mean, in therapy, there's even this thing called the magic question. And the magic question basically is like, if you go to sleep tonight and you wake up and you realize therapy worked, how would your life be different? How would everything be wonderful and perfect the way that you see it? How would everything be fixed, right? Because why that question is kind of important, and typically I ask that question every single intake, is because it gives me as a therapist an understanding of what this person expects, what this person wants, even if they can't verbalize it, like clearly this is what I want out of therapy. It gives me an idea of what health looks like for this person in their relationships, in their life, in their job, what have you. And so if you don't have a really clear goal, it makes it really challenging to nail down or understand the idea for you of where we're going to go, the direction. So it's really important that you come with, this is what I want to work on. I've noticed this about myself. I've noticed that I do these things, or even I notice people do these things around me, or I want to do this thing. It's been really challenging. It'd be nice to do this thing. Yes, don't get me wrong. You can totally go to therapy to explore yourself, to get more insight into things you do. But at the same time, it's also important that you pick a direction. Like, I do this thing in relationships. I want to understand why I have this habit. I want to understand why it's really challenging me to control my impulses, or I feel like I react emotionally and angrily at a lot of things really quickly. Why do I do that? Okay, and the next thing, after that is, okay, insight's great, don't get me wrong. After that, it's, okay, what do you want to do with that? Like, do you want to stop being impulsive? Do you want to better manage your emotions? Do you want to grow in your relationships? Like, what is the thing that you want to do after you have that insight? Because insight is great, but at the same time, if you don't do anything with that insight, like, what's the point? Like, what is the point of having this information? What are you going to do with it? For me personally, I think everything needs to be purpose-driven. Like, there's a purpose for knowing, because if you know this, that you do this thing, do you want to decrease it? You want to increase it? You want to do something with it? You want to do something else with it? So I think the reason why therapy doesn't really work is because oftentimes people don't know what they want to do in therapy, especially if they say, I don't know, man, you tell me. What? What? Another reason why I get really confused on that is because I think the most important thing that I try to instill in my clients is I'm not the expert in your life. You are. You're the expert in your life. You go to sleep with yourself. You wake up with yourself. You live with yourself for how many years? And who am I to tell you, like, this is the best way to live your life? You know, as long as you're being safe, as long as you're doing things consensually, as long as you are doing things intentionally or whatever, like, who am I to tell you what to do, how to do it, or what you should do? I'm not your mom. You know, you are you. And at the end of the day, here's the super morbid existential fact. At the end of the day, I'm not going to be here. Your parents are going to be here. You know, you are going to be you living your life, making your decisions. And my goal as a therapist is to allow you to be intentional, passionate, in control, and influence however you want to live your life, as long as you know you're not hurting anyone, and as long as you're are doing those things consensually. Like, who am I to say? So, most importantly, when you go to therapy, make sure that you have a goal of what you want. I guess this kind of also goes with. I guess this is A. What's the purpose of therapy? Like, what I mean by that is like, all right, what do you want to get out of like this experience? What is the purpose of going? Do you want to explore yourself? Do you want to gain more insight into what you want, what you do, or how you think, or why you think? Do you want skills to better manage yourself and your emotions? I think it's important that you really think about the purpose and why you're going. And if it's skills, I mean, if it's exploratory or if it's insight, okay, what would you do after you've explored or found these interesting points of you or points of interest? What would you do with them? Or even if you want to think about that too, like if you wanted to get a diagnosis, what would getting a diagnosis mean to you? What's the purpose of this diagnosis? How would this diagnosis change your life or change the way you do things and things like that? I want you to think about the mental gym or therapy like a mental gym, just like you would think of like the gym for your physical health. And what I mean by that is like, if you thought of therapy the same way you thought of working out at the gym and approached that such, I think if you took that same mindset, it would really increase the chances of you finding therapy to be effective. I think it'd really lower the defenses of going to therapy. I think it'd be more encouraging of you to go to therapy, because if you think about, I think like maybe this is it. All right. If you thought of therapy like you do, if people would approach therapy like they do working out at the gym, I think it would decrease the stigma of therapy. I think it would be more fun. I think it would encourage people to go to therapy, because I think it would decrease people's fears around going to therapy. Because when you think of the physical gym, and when you go to the gym and to go work out, it makes sense to people. Like, when people go to the gym, they think, okay, this is a good thing. I'm trying to better myself. I'm trying to become more healthy. I'm trying to get stronger, whatever. And when you go to the gym, what are you focused on? Are you focused on what people are going to think about you? No, I mean, first of all, everyone at the gym is going to the gym for the same reasons: to get healthy, to get bigger, to get stronger, to look better, whatever motivations they have to go to the gym. And if you go to the gym, typically people aren't paying attention to you. Sure, they may look at you or whatever, like because you're another human or an animal in the gym, fine, but they're not paying attention to you. And if they are paying attention to you, then those people that are going to the gym are also going to the gym for the wrong reason, so pay them no attention. But when people go to therapy or think about people going to therapy, there's this weird stigma of like, man, there's something wrong with that person. There's something wrong with me. Only crazy people go to therapy. Only people with problems go to therapy. But if we were to switch that mindset, like going to the gym, like the mental gym of therapy, people who go to therapy are trying to better themselves. People who are going to therapy are trying to get stronger. They're trying to be more healthy. And if people are looking at them or judging them from going to the gym or therapy, they're not helping. They're there for the wrong reasons. So if you were to perceive the mental gym, aka therapy, like you do the gym, the physical gym, how would that change your perception of yourself? How would that change your perception of going to therapy? Or how would that change the perception of what you do in therapy? Because like the gym, when's the best time to go to the gym? When you're all broken and busted and you're sore? Or maybe you sprained your hamstring? Or is it better to go to the gym when you're healthy so you can actually work on the pieces of yourself to get stronger? You know, because when I think people go to the mental gym or therapy, they think, man, the best time to go to therapy is when I'm broken, when something's wrong, I'm depressed, or I notice I don't like something about myself, you know, like that's the time I got to go to therapy. At the same time, if you really think about it, if you really want to get to your next level, if you really want to gain more skills and be able to learn them in a cool, calm, collected manner when everything's not, so much, you're not really stressed out, you don't really have a lot of things going on that will take your attention away, the best time to go to therapy oftentimes is when nothing is wrong. Now we can really dig into things. Now we can really do the exploration. Now we can really do more strength building skills versus I'm just trying to get you back to baseline. I'm really trying to work on think of it like if you go to the gym, if you think going to the gym is the best to go broken or when you're something sore, we're not really going to the gym, we're going to physical therapy, you know? So in that case, maybe it's more like mental therapy. Okay, physical therapy versus mental therapy. Oh my god, can I not spell? Maybe that's more the equation where people think that, oh, I need to go to therapy or mental therapy when I'm broken and I'm busted, kind of like when people go to physical therapy to get me back to baseline so I can walk without pain or I can bend over without pain. You know, maybe that's more easily what people think about therapy and when they should go to therapy. But from my perspective, yes, that's a great time to go to therapy, and please go to therapy then. At the same time, maybe even a better time to go to therapy is when things are working, when nothing is going bad in your life, when you can actually take the time to learn different skills or really do deeper explorations or really understand yourself and what's happening and where you've come from and how it all makes sense. So I think even taking the perspective of the physical gym to the mental gym, physical therapy, mental therapy, if you can kind of shift your perspective around these things and think of them differently, because it's so odd to me that people are so much more accepting of getting physically healthy versus mentally healthy, and the stigma that is attached to going to therapy versus going to the gym, where inherently they're pretty much the same thing. You're doing the same thing, but in one aspect we think we're going crazy, and in the other aspect we're thinking you're getting stronger. Where in reality, they're both meant for you to be healthy and strong and grow with no judgment. Okay. This might be... Okay. I have a hot take too. Okay, so maybe number 3. Okay. Number 3. Why therapy doesn't work? It's because there's a miss in expectations of what you think or expect therapy is versus what therapy actually is. Okay, maybe. Did I spell that correctly? There's 2 L's? Okay. For some reason, I feel like that's wrong. Maybe not. Maybe not. Okay, sick. All right. Why is I just... That is correct. Okay. All right. So, the third reason why I think therapy doesn't work is because your expectations of what therapy is versus what therapy actually is, there's a miss. And what I mean by that is oftentimes when people come to therapy, they say it didn't work. And I say, well, what do you mean it didn't work? It's like, I still feel anxious. I still feel depressed. I still have ADHD. Like, it doesn't work because if I actually went to therapy and, you know, it all worked, then I wouldn't feel this way. Or another one that I recently came about was, you know, I take my medication for anxiety, but I still feel anxious. Or I take my medication for depression and I still feel depressed. Or like, I take my ADHD medication, but like, it doesn't really work because I focus on other things. Like, oh, okay. The reason why therapy doesn't work from that perspective, if you think you go to therapy and the therapist and the therapy or whatever is going to fix you, you're never not going to feel this way. You're never going to feel anxious. Or when I go to therapy, I'm going to work on my anxiety and it's going to go away. That's not exactly what happens in therapy. And if you have that perspective, I have bad news. Listen, even if you go to therapy, or even when you go to therapy to work on these things, to understand how it affects you, you may still feel anxious. You still may feel depressed. You still may feel or have symptoms of ADHD or whatever. Like, those things may never go away. They might not. That just may be a feature of you and who you are and how you perceive the world and how you think, or your natural default or way of seeing things. However, when you go to therapy, the goal of therapy isn't to make it go away. The goal of therapy is to give you different skills, different perspectives, different interventions to better help you manage yourself and manage these symptoms when they come. So if you can better understand it, if you can see it from a different perspective, if you can feel it and do it anyway, that's the purpose of therapy. Like, it's skills, it is habits, it's behaviors, it's pieces of awareness, it's mindset shifts, it's cognitive flexibility. Like, all of those things not getting rid of it, because those may be features of you or habits of thinking for you, and the goal is to either switch them so they may not hit you so hard. It is to help you manage yourself through those feelings, or allowing yourself to catch yourself when you're doing these things and allow you moments to choose to do something different. Now, here's another piece. Just because you take the medicine, or you go to see a psychiatrist and you get that antidepressant or anti-anxiety or ADHD medication or whatever medication that you get, it also may not take that feeling away. Or it may not be like the instant fix. It should help because it allows you more time. It may lengthen your fuse. It may calm you down so things don't hit you so hard. At the same time, the best research has shown the best way to manage these symptoms is, yes, to be under the care of psychiatrists who can give you medication, and at the same time work with a psychologist so you can develop the skills to better manage yourself in general. The medication may not fix your problem, but it may allow you to better utilize behavior skills too, because you're not really anxious all the time. You're not really stressed out. Maybe you take the edge off a little bit. Maybe depression to help rebalance you so you can use the cognitive skills instead of really focusing and ruminating on all the bad and sad things on your life. You know, the ADHD medication may provide you with ability to focus on different things versus getting stuck on focusing on the wrong things. At the same time, if you don't train your mind and train your focus, you may focus on the wrong things or hyper-focus on the wrong things. Then you are cleaning your house for 8 hours instead of focusing on your homework. So just because you take the medication, just like the therapy, doesn't mean that it's going to go away, but the medication allows you a better chance to utilize behavior skills too. So just because you do one or the other, it may not negate or take away or fix or solve, or you're never going to feel this way. That's not the purpose of it. The purpose is it allows you to do the skills to manage yourself better, feel the feelings, and then still do it anyway. Like, that's the entire purpose of therapy. So if your expectation is they're gonna fix me, everything's gonna be beautiful, and I'm not gonna feel this, that's not correct. So this is what actually therapy is for and how it works. It's a very active process. Therapy is not I go here, I vent, and I feel better. Sure, that's one version of therapy. At the same time, what's more effective is if you can come to therapy, vent, process what you're venting about, and then provide you with skills that you can practice. So this thing that's irritating you, or the thing that's making you stressed out, or the thing that's bothering you, you can manage yourself through it and do it anyway. Okay. I think attached to that, I'm going to... this is my hot take. All right. This is my hot take. All right. Another reason why therapy may not work for you is because you may not be ready. And what I mean for that is you're not doing nothing for nothing. Like, there's a reason for what you're doing and why you're doing it. May it be, intentional or not. And here's the thing. When I think about therapy and when I think about how therapy works, it's about bringing the unconscious or the things that you're doing to the forefront of your mind so you can be more intentional in the decisions you're making. And here's the thing. No decision is pure, awesomeness. Typically, most decisions, there is something that you like and something that you don't like, and they're mixed into, each other. Because if everything was awesome. Like there's only good things about this decision. There's only upsides to this decision, and there's only bad things and bad stuff to this other decision. Like life would be so easy. And I wish it was black and white, good, bad, like amazing, terrible, always. At the same time, like there's typically not that many of those decisions. For example, like you may love your job, but at the same time, your coworkers may suck. The hours of the job may suck. The benefits may suck. But you are doing your passion. You are living doing the thing that you wanted to do. Maybe the other thing that you get is like vacation time, or like there's flexible hours. But maybe you have terrible coworkers. So there's things that you like, and there's things that you don't like. But it's important that you understand that you choose, this is the thing that I like more, or I want these things and I'm going to accept all the junk things that come with it. Or you can choose, I'm going to choose this one because I'm trying to avoid some other thing or whatever. What I'm trying to say is you are just making choices and decisions constantly. And the decisions aren't always purely good and purely bad. And we must accept the good with the bad with every decision that we make. The reason that I'm saying that you may not be ready for therapy is because what if you are doing the things and you're totally being intentional with these decisions and the things that you're doing, and even though you don't like some of the pieces of that decision, for example, what's a good one? Well, I'm only really thinking about work. Like, I really like, oh my god, esports is the thing, I guess, in the forefront of my mind. Like, I love esports, and I want to work in esports, and I love working with players, and I love working with coaches, and I love being part of the change process. But listen, there's not a lot of money in esports. It's really hard to find a job. Not everyone wants to work with you. It's really hard to convince people to take the help or to do the things differently that they could do to become the best player that they could be. Listen, if I want to do esports, then I'm going to have to eat all the other things that come with it. I'm going to have to eat that there may not be money. I have to eat that not everyone's going to want to change. I have to eat that I have to like chase down my own clients and things like that. And that's just part of the game. But if I just focus on the things that I don't like and why it's so terrible, then it's not going to happen for me. It's going to be very frustrating. I'm going to burn out. I'm going to lose the plot. The purpose might get lost, but that's part of the decision of going into esports. It's kind of like, this example I gave is like, you may not be ready because like some of the changes that you need to make, there's more impact doing things that you don't want to do versus things that you want, like for example, the smoke detector beeping. Beep. Beep. If you're kind of saying like, Ryan, I hate hearing the smoke detector. It's so irritating. Beep. There it is again. Beep. It just drives me insane. It doesn't allow me to sleep. It's just super irritating. And so you know what I did, Ryan? I bought headphones. Noise canceling headphones. But here's the problem. I still hear it. Beep. It's still there, bro. Beep. And then when I take my headphones off, it's still there. And so we'll be working together and be like, okay, well, do you want to do other things to continue to try to, do you want to earplugs? Do you want to go just try not to pay attention to it? What is it? No, Ryan, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go on a run, or I'm going to go like outside the house. And so that's my solution. So, okay. But then they'll go outside the house and then they come back and like, but you know what, man? Every time I come in the house though, like it's fine when I'm outside, but when I come back in, beep, I hear it again. And so it's like, okay, what else do you want to do? Do you want to possibly change the batteries of the smoke detector? Or do you want to figure out how to continue to plug my ears? Well, I want to continue to learn how to like not hear the sound. How do I not pay attention to the sound, Ryan? I was like, okay, well, do you want to maybe try changing the batteries? No, Ryan. If I try to change the batteries, I gotta get the ladder. I gotta go to the store to get the batteries. Then I have to like climb the ladder. It's such a big hassle. So I'd rather just like try to figure out how to not to hear the voice. So like, what are things I can do to make sure that I don't hear the beeping, Ryan? Okay, so you're gonna choose to try not to hear the sound. You're gonna wear headphones. You're gonna put earplugs in. You're gonna get out of the house. You're gonna like complain about the sound. Like that's a conscious choice you're making. Yeah, but that's what I want to do. And so, okay, the techniques and the skills that you're picking, there's only a finite limit that they have of impact. And the other thing that you could do, sure, it takes a little bit of work. It takes a little bit of effort. You got to get the ladder. You got to get the batteries. You got to climb the ladder. It's scary to climb the ladder because it's high. Then you got to unscrew it. It's just a hassle. Okay, you don't want to do that part, but you just want to figure out why, like, how to not hear the sound. Yes. Okay. And the reason I'm saying I bring up this example of you may not be ready to be ready for therapy is because sometimes in therapy, you want it, like, we will tell you, okay, this is what you want to do. Here's your options to not hear the sound. You could change the batteries though. But if you're not ready to change the batteries, there's only so much we can do to make your situation better. But until you're ready to actually be brave, to change the batteries, to get the batteries, to go to the store and spend the money to get the batteries and talk to the people and find the batteries, then drive home, then get the ladder and set up the ladder and then get over your fear of climbing the ladder and then reach up to the batteries and like change them. Like until you're ready to do the harder stuff, the things that you're avoiding and doing currently may not get you that far. But here's the shitty part. Oftentimes when that happens, people attribute, man, I'm the problem. I'm doing all these things. I'm trying to make all these changes, but nothing's changing my situation, where it's like, no. It's not a you problem. You're doing everything you can. There's just other things that you could be doing that you don't want to do to better your situation. And if the other person says, yes, it's an intentional decision I'm making to not change the batteries and do the other stuff, and I want to do that, then it's kind of like, okay, well, good luck. That's what you want to do. And I guess we can sit here until you're ready to change the batteries, but until then, what else do you want to try to not hear the sound? So that's my hot take of not being ready. Sometimes in therapy, we will challenge you to do the things that you don't want to do, but by maybe because you're scared, because it's new, because no one's ever done it or saw it from that perspective before. Maybe you never knew that you could do it before. Like, our goal in therapy is try to open your horizons, open your minds, change your perspective, or reframe your situation so you're able to see that there's other things you can do besides just putting your fingers in your ears to not hear the sound. All right. I think the last one, number 4, why therapy doesn't work. All right. I'd say number 4, why therapy doesn't work is because you want others to change, or you want the situation to change. And the reason why I want to put this here and why it leads to ineffective therapy is because in the room, who I'm talking to is not other people. The person I'm talking to is you. And the only person that can change, and in fact change the situation, is not others, it's you. Because oftentimes other people will not move, or if you do not change your interaction with them, their interactions with them or your relationship with them doesn't change. And oftentimes, if we hard focus on if only this person would change, if only this person would be different, then I could XYZ. At the same time, the interesting question is, okay, then what do you want to change? Say nothing. I can't because X, Y, and Z. I can't because this person. I can't because of the situation. It's like, okay, well, if you can't change and you really want this other situation or this other person to change, then we're kind of at a stalemate because you've given all your power and control away to this other person or the situation or whatever factor that you've designated as something else that you want to change that's outside of you. And in my experience, oftentimes, if you start moving in a different way, other things around you also start moving in a different way. That means they may not like it. Yeah, and I can't say that other people will like the way that you change, or they will prefer the way that you're changing. At the same time, inherently, if you move, the other thing will have to move too. And as a therapist, I think the one thing that I think is really, really important is providing people with seeing where they can influence, seeing where they have power, seeing how they have control of their situation themselves, their agency, so they can make a difference in their life. Because if you want other people to change, I cannot guarantee you that they will, because you don't have control over them. You don't have control over what they think, what they do, or whatever. So that's not possible. That's like saying, like, I want this to change. It's kind of like saying, like, oh, well, I want $1 million, or, you know, I want to be able to fly, or like I want, I don't know, anything. I want a unicorn. Like, sure, those would be nice if they did it and it came and I won, or like it'd be cool if these things happen. But at the same time, they may not, because I don't have control over things outside of myself. And if you're saying, I want the situation to change, I mean, this happens in gaming all the time. It would have been different if we hit the shot. It would have been different if we just won this round. It'd be different if I just didn't die here. And this is in this situation, the game would have been different. Absolutely. It would be. And your outcomes would be different too. The way you would feel would be different too. Here's the thing though. Objectively, this is where you are. And objectively, this is where you are, and right now, not forever, not like permanently. This is the situation now. And the reason why it's important to bring some objectivity and specificity to the situation or whatever is because if you're able to see it more objectively, now we can make more objective moves to improve our positions, versus wishing and hoping a situation would be different and then believing if it was only a different way we could move, or it'd be perfect the way we see it. I think the most important thing about games too is it's always evolving. And when you start off the game, you have an expectation of how the game is supposed to be played or what would be happening and wouldn't it be nice at the same time. And how often does that happen? Rarely. But even though the game changes, the most important thing is to accept where you are in the game so you can continue to work towards some type of win condition versus the original win condition that you thought was it. I mean, that win condition after a mistake happens or an ideal play doesn't happen may not exist anymore, but there may be other win conditions that we can kind of work towards to continue to put ourselves in winning positions. But that only comes by accepting the situation for what it is right now, so we can make better decisions to get to a future we want with our power, control, and influence. All right, here's some bonus things. All right, here's some bonus things. Okay. think this might bring me home. All right. The biggest, here's a bonus question, right? Some people want to see a psychologist because they want to get a diagnosis for anxiety, autism, a personality disorder, bipolar, ADHD, whatever. Okay, like, sweet. What would getting a diagnosis mean for you or mean to you? Like, what's the purpose of getting a diagnosis? For example, like, do you want accommodations in school? Do you want extra time on a test? Do you want to understand yourself so you can do things differently? Do you want to understand how you see relationships so you can be a better something? Like, what is it? Or do you want to look for the confirmation that there's something wrong with me? I'm broken. I have a disease. Like, this is the reason I do stuff. Another one it's really interesting is people that say, I just want to know, okay, what would you do with that knowledge? Because knowledge is great, knowing is great, but what would you do? How'd that change your life? What would you do differently now knowing that you have this thing, this diagnosis, that you carry it? The reason that I'm bringing this up is because I got good news and I got bad news. Right? The good news is it's cool to have this piece of insight or to understand yourself at a different level, to receive this diagnosis or whatever. In fact, it's so cool and you're so cool that there's a whole group of people that kind of see the world, interact with their environment, and have these habits and behaviors just like you. That's amazing. Here's the bad news though. Now that you know that you have this, it is your responsibility to build the skills to better manage yourself, because now that you know these things, you can't just say, oh, that's just what I do. I'm impulsive. Haha, my bad. Or, oh, this is what I do. I'm anxious. Like, that's your problem now. Like, no. Now that you know that you see the world this way, now that you know that you have these behaviors, or you have these thoughts, or you do these things, now it's your responsibility to make sure that you are able to manage yourself through the situations, no matter what. Like, you can't just explain it away like, I'm ADHD, I can't pay attention, and I cannot. No. Now that you know that you have ADHD and this is something you do, there are skills, there's behaviors, there are interventions for you to follow so you can better manage your time. So you can better manage your impulses. So now you can be more aware of your emotions and how they affect you. It's your responsibility to make sure that you are managing yourself. Like, I don't think you can just say, oh, it's my depression. Sure, it's a reason. At the same time, the question is, okay, what are you doing to, manage your depression? What are the things that you are doing to make sure that your depression doesn't hit you so hard? Like, what are these things that you're trying to do to better your situation? I think it's really unempowering when people say that I'm this diagnosis and that's their entire personality, and they aren't doing the things that they're able to, better themselves or better manage themselves, versus this is a reason why I can't do certain things. This limits me from living my best life. And no, that's not it at all. There's nothing wrong with you. This is not something that like is terrible about you. Like, this is just something that you need to deal with or whatever. That's just like saying like, well, you know what? I don't have 20/20 vision. This is just my vision now. Everything is blurry. It's like, no, bro. Like, you know what? I can't drive a car because, like, I can't really see. Everything is blurry. Like, I can't do this. It's like, no. There are things you can do, like wearing glasses. Do, like, maybe not stand so close to the screen. Things you can do to manage yourself so you can live your life, so you can drive, so you can do things. And there's no big deal. What's wrong with wearing your glasses? What's wrong with taking your medication? What's wrong with going to therapy? What's wrong with trying to learn new skills? There's nothing wrong with any of these things. But as soon as you rob yourself of your ability to manage the situations, now it's more challenging. Why? Like, this, there's nothing, like, just because you have this thing that describes your behavior, it doesn't mean your life is over or it's impossible. Like, there's different stuff that you have to do, and yeah, unlucky, it is your responsibility to do them because that's your life. That is your life. And how can we increase the intentionality and control that you have to live your best life? And I guess some people would say that that's just a hot take. At the same time, like, you just want to know, okay, what would you do with this information? If you just want to know about your diagnosis, how would you change your life? Or what would this mean to you? Or what about it? Like would you want to learn the skills? No, I just want to know. Why? If you're not going to do anything with it, like, okay, no, to explain the way that I think. Okay, now that you know how you think, like, what do you want to do differently? Nothing. Oh my God, I'm tilted. Like, what do you want to do? You know, how do you want to live your life, or how do you want to change your mindsets to make sure you're able to do the things that you want to do and not hamper that for yourself. So, yeah. I guess the questions then become like, what's your perspective of therapy? How has this conversation changed your perspective of therapy? And I guess, what is it like trying to think about how to live a more intentional life for yourself? And I guess the thing is, like, I can't answer that question for you. That is a you question. That's something that you need to think about. And I'd love to help you think about that for you, or with you. So if you enjoyed this stream, please visit my website, psychsensei.com. That's more my esports stuff. I'm sure you can look me up on Growth Therapy if you want to work with me one-on-one. But if you want to get more resources about esports and gaming, and maybe figure out what your win condition and start working towards it today, please visit my website, psychsensei.com, and let's hang out. My favorite sessions, but let me know. Follow me on TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, all of it. You name it, probably got it. Blue Sky, X, whatever. TikTok, Twitter. And I'm going to try to stream again on Friday. Probably a little bit different. Maybe I'll play a game, or maybe I will read an article. Try to be consistent. But catch me every Monday and Friday at 6 p.m. PST, or around there. I'm trying. And let's hang out. All right. Well, love you guys. Take it easy. Pieces. Mwah! Remember, Sharman to wins. Bye!